Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to be focusing on something pretty incredible.
Yeah,
World Ranger Day.
it is a special day.
So, when I first heard about it, I thought, oh, cool, like the Texas Rangers, right?
Yeah.
The baseball team.
Uh-huh.
But turns out there's a whole other world of Rangers out there.
Absolutely.
The ones that are protecting our planet's natural treasures. And let me tell you, their story is way more exciting than any baseball game.
Well, and what's fascinating about World Ranger Day is that it's not just about, celebrating these amazing individuals.
Right.
It's about raising awareness for the crucial role that they play in protecting our planet's natural resources.
Yeah.
Ensuring safe and enriching experiences for park visitors.
Okay, so maybe not as action-packed as a baseball game, but definitely more impactful, right? I mean, we're talking about people putting their lives on the line.
Right?
To protect endangered species, fight poachers, preserve ecosystems for future generations.
Exactly. And, World Ranger Day is held every year on July 31st, and it's a global event.
Oh, wow.
It really highlights the interconnectedness of conservation efforts worldwide.
So how did this day even come about? It's not exactly a holiday you see on every calendar.
You're right. It's a relatively recent observance.
Okay.
It was established in 2007, thanks in part to a documentary filmmaker named Sean Wilmore.
A filmmaker. Okay, so there is a little bit of Hollywood in this story. Spill the tea.
Well, Wilmore was also a former park ranger, so he had firsthand experience with the dangers and sacrifices these individuals face.
Oh, interesting.
And he noticed a lack of public awareness about these risks.
Uh-huh.
So he set out to change that.
I like this guy already using his platform to shine a light on something important.
Right.
So what did he do?
He created a documentary called The Thin Green Line, which was released that same year.
Okay.
And he traveled to 23 countries, interviewing rangers from all walks of life, capturing their incredible stories of dedication, courage, and, the risks they take every day.
23 countries. That's dedication to a cause right there.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that film was eye-opening for a lot of people.
It really brought to light the challenges and dangers these rangers face, and it had a ripple effect.
Okay.
The documentary led to the creation of the Thin Green Line Foundation, which provides support to the families of injured or fallen rangers.
Wow. So it's more than just a film. It's a whole movement.
Mm-hmm.
So where does World Ranger Day fit into all of this?
The film played a key role in its establishment.
Okay.
It helped galvanize support and raise awareness for the need to formally recognize and honor the work of park rangers worldwide.
So it's like the film was the spark and World Ranger Day is the flame that continues to burn, right?
That's a great analogy, and it's worth mentioning that Dr. Jane Goodall, the renowned primatologist and conservationist,
Right.
became an ambassador for the Thin Green Line Foundation, lending her voice and influence to the cause.
Of course, Dr. Jane Goodall, it seems like she's involved in every good cause out there.
Right.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, World Ranger Day is about acknowledging these often unsung heroes
Right.
who protect our natural world.
Yeah.
And it's a call to action to support their work.
Precisely. It's about recognizing the vital role they play in preserving biodiversity, combating climate change,
Right.
and ensuring that future generations can enjoy the wonders of our planet.
Okay, now I'm really getting it. These folks aren't just checking passes and handing out maps. They're on the front lines of conservation.
Yeah.
And World Ranger Day is our chance to say thank you and rally behind their mission.
Absolutely. And to understand just how multifaceted their role is,
Right.
we need to dive into the history of ranging itself.
History. Now, hold on a second. I thought this was about park rangers, not, historical reenactments or something.
That's a fair point, but the term ranger has a long and fascinating history, and understanding that history will give us a deeper appreciation for the work they do today.
All right, I'm intrigued. Where do we begin this historical deep dive?
Yeah. We'll start in 17th century America, where the concept of ranging first took root, laying the foundation for what would become a vital part of both military and conservation efforts.
Okay, so we're going back to the colonial days,
Yeah.
before they even had baseball. This is getting interesting.
Exactly. All right, so let's imagine 17th century America, a time of vast wilderness, where European colonists are encountering Native American tribes who had lived on this land for centuries.
Yeah.
And the traditional European military tactics, with their rigid formations
Right.
and reliance on heavy weaponry,
Yeah.
just weren't effective.
Yeah, I can see how those tactics would be a bit clunky in the dense forests and rugged terrain
Right.
of colonial America. They needed something more adaptable.
Exactly. They needed individuals who could move swiftly, operate stealthily, and use the terrain to their advantage.
Uh-huh.
Enter the Rangers.
Okay, so this is where the term ranging comes into play.
Yeah.
But what did it actually entail? What made these Rangers different from regular soldiers?
Think of it as a kind of hybrid warfare, blending the skills of a soldier, a scout, and a woodsman.
Wow, okay.
Ranging was all about reconnaissance raiding and disrupting enemy movements.
Uh-huh.
It required adaptability, cunning, and intimate knowledge of the land.
So they were like the special forces of their time, operating behind enemy lines and using unconventional tactics.
That's a great way to put it. One of the earliest and most influential figures in American ranging was Colonel Benjamin Church.
Okay.
Now, he formed the first Ranger Company in 1676.
Okay.
During King Philip's War, a brutal conflict between colonists and Native American tribes.
What made Colonel Church so significant? Was he just a really good soldier, or was there something more to his approach?
Church was a brilliant tactician, but what set him apart was his willingness to learn from his adversaries.
Oh, interesting.
He recognized the effectiveness of Native American fighting methods,
Yeah.
their stealth, their knowledge of the terrain, and their use of unconventional tactics.
So instead of dismissing their methods as savage or inferior, he actually studied them and incorporated them into his own strategies.
Precisely, he understood that to be successful in this new environment,
Right.
he needed to adapt and adopt the best practices regardless of where they came from.
Right.
This approach was revolutionary and highly effective.
That's a powerful lesson in humility and open-mindedness. Sometimes the best way to defeat your enemy is to learn from them.
It's a lesson that's just as relevant today as it was back then, but getting back to Colonel Church,
Okay.
his methods proved so successful that they influenced generations of Rangers to come.
Uh-huh.
In fact, his legacy can be seen in the tactics and principles used by Rangers today.
Wow. That's incredible. So the roots of modern ranging can be traced back to this one guy who wasn't afraid to break the mold and learn from those who were different from him.
Exactly. Church's innovative approach laid the groundwork for what would become a crucial part of American military history.
Right.
And eventually, the foundation for the park rangers we celebrate on World Ranger Day.
It's amazing how seemingly disparate threads like colonial warfare and modern conservation can be connected through this concept of ranging. So how did this ranger tradition evolve after Colonel Church? Did others follow in his footsteps?
They did. In the 18th century, figures like John Lovewell and John Gorham,
Oh,
both with family ties to those who served under Church,
wow.
continued the tradition of frontier warfare,
Uh-huh.
solidifying the concept of ranging as a distinct and effective form of combat.
So it's like a passing of the torch with each generation building upon the knowledge and experience of those who came before.
And then we have the legendary Robert Rogers,
Okay.
who formed Rogers Rangers in 1751.
Okay.
He's considered one of the most influential figures in the history of ranging.
Okay.
He not only organized and led these units,
Uh-huh.
but he also codified their principles in his famous Rules of Ranging.
Rules of Ranging. That sounds like a must-read for any aspiring ranger, past or present. What were some of the key takeaways from these rules?
Imagine you're a ranger in the 1700s. Rogers' rules stress the importance of being constantly vigilant,
Okay.
always scouting and patrolling, being adaptable to changing circumstances, and using stealth and cunning to outmaneuver the enemy.
It sounds like a combination of practical fieldcraft and mental discipline.
And the amazing thing is that these rules of ranging are still shared with graduating Army Rangers today.
Wow.
They've stood the test of time
Yeah.
because they embody those timeless principles of adaptability, resourcefulness, and mental fortitude
Right.
that are just as relevant in modern warfare as they were on the colonial frontier.
It's like a direct link through centuries of military history, connecting those early rangers with the elite soldiers of today.
And it's not just in the military where these principles have resonated as the concept of ranging evolved. It found its way into conservation efforts, shaping the role of the park rangers we celebrate on World Ranger Day.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection here. So these early rangers, with their skills in navigating the wilderness, understanding the natural world, and protecting the land, laid the groundwork for the park rangers, who safeguard our national parks and wildlife refuges today.
Exactly. That spirit of exploration,
Right.
that connection with the natural world, and that dedication to protecting it
Yeah.
all stem from those early roots of ranging.
So how did this transition from military ranging to conservation ranging take place? Was there a specific event or turning point that marked this shift?
Well, as the United States expanded westward and the frontier became more settled,
Right.
the need for military rangers diminished.
Got it.
But the vast wilderness areas that were being
Mhm.
explored and settled needed a new kind of protector,
Right.
someone who understood the land and could safeguard its natural resources.
Like the Rangers' mission evolved along with the nation itself.
And as the national park system began to take shape in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the role of the park ranger emerged as a vital part of conservation efforts.
So while those early rangers were protecting the nation from external threats, these new park rangers were tasked with protecting the nation's natural heritage for future generations.
Precisely. And they brought with them those same core values of courage, adaptability, and a deep connection to the land that had defined rangers for centuries.
It's incredible to think about how this concept of ranging, born out of conflict and the need for survival, has transformed into a force for conservation and preservation.
And it's a reminder that even though the world has changed dramatically since those early days of ranging, the
Wow.
core principles of courage, adaptability, and a deep respect for the natural world remain just as relevant and important today.
So we've journeyed from the battlefields of colonial America to the establishment of national parks and the rise of the modern park ranger. What a fascinating evolution. But where do those military rangers fit into the picture today? Did they just fade away as the frontier closed?
Not at all. The military ranger tradition continued to evolve alongside the conservation side of ranging. And in the 20th century, with the advent of modern warfare, the U.S. Army Rangers emerged as an elite fighting force, drawing upon those same principles of courage, adaptability, and expertise in unconventional warfare that had defined rangers for centuries.
So while the park rangers were safeguarding our natural treasures, the Army Rangers were on the front lines defending the nation from new threats.
Exactly, and their story is just as fascinating.
Oh, I bet.
Filled with tales of daring raids, heroic sacrifices, and unwavering dedication to their mission.
Well, I'm definitely hooked on this whole ranger thing now as like a hidden world within our world, filled with individuals who embody the spirit of adventure, courage, and a deep connection to something larger than themselves. So we've explored the roots of ranging from those early American frontiersmen to the emergence of park rangers as protectors of our natural heritage. But you mentioned that the military ranger tradition also continued to evolve. What's their story in the 20th century and beyond?
Yeah, it's a story of adaptation and specialization, really. You know, as warfare changed, becoming more global and technologically advanced, the need for highly skilled, rapidly deployable units became paramount.
Right.
And the Rangers were perfectly suited to fill that role.
So while those early rangers were masters of the wilderness, these modern Army Rangers became masters of modern warfare.
Think of them as the tip of the spear, you know?
Yeah.
They're the ones sent in for the toughest missions,
Right.
the ones that require surgical precision, lightning speed, and unwavering courage.
Yeah.
World War II was a pivotal moment for the Rangers,
Okay.
where they really came into their own as an elite fighting force.
I remember reading about their daring raids on D-Day, scaling those cliffs under intense enemy fire. That must have been incredible bravery.
It was those actions, you know, like the assault on Pointe du Hoc to take out a German artillery battery,
Right.
cemented their reputation as an elite unit capable of achieving the impossible. And their motto, you know, Rangers lead the way.
Originated during that chaotic landing on Omaha Beach.
Wait, really? Tell me that story. It sounds like something out of a movie.
Picture this Brigadier General Norman Cota
Okay.
is trying to rally his troops on Omaha Beach.
Yeah.
And he comes across Major Max Schneider of the 5th Ranger Battalion.
Okay.
Cota, needing someone to push forward, asks, "What outfit is this?"
Right.
Schneider replies, "5th Rangers, sir."
Uh-huh.
Cota, without missing a beat, says,
Oh, wow.
"Well, goddamn it if your Rangers lead the way."
Wow, talk about a defining moment. It perfectly captures that spirit of taking charge, overcoming obstacles, and never backing down no matter the odds.
And that phrase became more than just an order.
Right.
It evolved into their motto,
Uh-huh.
embodying their ethos and inspiring generations of Rangers to come.
Yeah.
The Rangers went on to fight in Korea, Vietnam, Grenada, Panama, the Gulf War, Somalia, Afghanistan, Iraq. The list goes on.
So they've basically been involved in every major conflict since World War II. That's an incredible operational tempo. Their ability to deploy rapidly anywhere in the world and execute a wide range of missions makes them incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
Direct action raids, airfield seizures, hostage rescues, counterterrorism operations, you name it, they're trained for it.
It sounds incredibly demanding. What does it take to become one of these elite soldiers?
The selection process is grueling, both physically and mentally.
Yeah.
First, there's the Ranger Assessment and Selection Program, or RASP,
Okay.
which pushes candidates to their absolute limits.
Right.
It's designed to weed out anyone who isn't fully committed and capable of meeting the extraordinary demands of being a ranger.
So it's not just about physical strength. It's about mental toughness, resilience, that unwavering determination.
Exactly. And for those who make it through RASP, there's Ranger School, one of the most challenging combat leadership courses in the world.
Wow.
It's 61 days of intense training, pushing students to their breaking point, forging them into leaders who can operate under extreme pressure and make critical decisions in the heat of battle.
You know, it strikes me that both park rangers and Army Rangers, despite their very different roles, share some core qualities. Courage, adaptability, a deep respect for the environment they operate in, whether it's a natural landscape or a battlefield.
Yeah, it's an interesting observation, and you're right at their heart. Both embody that ranger spirit, that willingness to face challenges head on, to push beyond their limits, and to serve a cause greater than themselves.
Right.
Whether they're protecting endangered species or defending freedom, they represent the best of humanity's dedication to safeguarding our world in all its forms.
So as we celebrate World Ranger Day, it's important to remember both sides of this coin, right?
Absolutely.
The park rangers who dedicate their lives to preserving our natural heritage.
Right.
And the Army Rangers who put their lives on the line to protect our freedoms.
They both deserve our deepest respect and gratitude.
Well said.
Their stories, intertwined through this long and fascinating history of ranging, remind us that courage, dedication, and connection to something bigger than ourselves are qualities that can make a real difference in the world.
To all our listeners out there, I encourage you to learn more about both park rangers and Army Rangers, their history, their missions, and the sacrifices they make. Their stories are truly inspiring, and their work is vital to our world.
You know, you can find a wealth of information online.
Yeah.
The Thin Green Line Foundation, the International Ranger Federation, the 75th Ranger Regiment Association, and the National Ranger Memorial Foundation are all great resources. Take some time to explore, learn, and show your support for these remarkable individuals.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Rangers. We've covered a lot of ground, from the colonial battlefields to the modern-day heroes who carry on this legacy. And remember, whether you're exploring a national park or reflecting on the sacrifices of those who defend our freedom, take a moment to appreciate the spirit of the Ranger, that unwavering dedication to protecting what matters most.
And who knows, maybe this deep dive will inspire you to get involved, to support conservation efforts, or to learn more about the history and the heroes who have shaped our world. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those minds engaged.